Welcome everyone to a casted game of Age of Empires 4! And today spawning in the southwest corner of the map, playing in red, we've got Kaup playing as the Japanese, and his opponent in the northeast playing in pink. We've got none other than Corvinus. It is a Smurf account, but Corvinus is playing today as Joan of Arc. Welcome everyone to Gorge. That is your map for today, and well, today actually, I really want to focus on something very specific, and that is Joan of Arc. I want to tell you all about her, what she does, her life story within this faction. I've got plenty of casted games on the channel, so going to be covering all the civilization really, but I actually really want to focus on Joan of Arc today and let you guys know all about her. So it's pretty complicated, lots of things going on, but I want to try and break it down for you step by step with the overlays. I've done a bit of preparation, so I really hope you enjoy this video because I think it's going to do well to break things down for you. But to start the situation off, it's a journey of a hero. So she gathers resources, constructs buildings, captures sacred sites even, and she can fight, which is pretty cool. But essentially what she does, she levels up by gaining experience. And when you do level up, that's where things get very interesting. But she's got an honorable art. She is able to regenerate her health. But at level 3, she even takes less damage, 50%. Level 4 becomes 66% reduced damage. Very, very strong. The other thing is she's a very talented builder. In the Dark Age, and level 1 really, she constructs buildings 33% faster. But at level 2, she actually influences villagers around her. So it's a really nice, it's a passive ability really for her. Just part of her nature, it seems. In any case, the first decision you'll make when you do level up will be here. Look at the bottom right. You got Joan of Arc as a hunter or Joan of Arc as a woman-at-arms. You've got to make a choice, and it's going to be important because it goes through with the rest of the game. If you choose her to become a hunter, at level 3 she becomes a mounted archer, and level 4 she becomes a markswoman. Same sort of thing, if you choose a woman-at-arms at level 2, she then becomes a knight in level 3 and has a blast cannon at level 4. That choice can't be undone, I'm afraid. But what's really interesting is if you choose her to become a hunter, then she gets abilities. She gets Divine Restoration, where she's able to heal nearby... Sorry, not heal by that. Yeah, it is actually instantly healing 30% of the missing health of nearby allies. On the other hand, though, if she becomes a woman-at-arms, she can't use Divine Restoration. Instead, she actually gets Holy Wrath. So bear that in mind. If she becomes a hunter, she becomes able to have Divine Restoration. However, if she chooses Woman-at-Arms, she gets Holy Wrath. Holy Wrath enables her to have a nice activatable ability of unleashing a lot of damage as an area of effect within a small radius for 50 damage. So bear that in mind when you make your choices, of course. Now that's level 2 out of the way. Let's talk about level 3. Level 3 is where you can choose between either becoming or choosing champions or rider champions. And regardless of which one you choose, though, you do get the Galvanize the Righteous passive ability where companions close to Jeanne gain some armor and extra damage. So if you choose the champions, then, you get champions. That's basically what you get. You can train them from the keeps, but also there's an ability where you can choose and rally 3 champions by her side. If she chooses rider champions, though, she can make riders from the keep, and then she can also rally 3 riders by her side as an activatable ability. That covers that really. Level, let's go on to the next level. And that is, you can either choose either Field Commander or Gunpowder Monarch. Now you can choose either of them, depending on, it doesn't really matter what champion you chose. So whilst that line goes across, it's a little bit misleading because you can actually choose Field Commander or Gunpowder Monarch, regardless of whether you chose a champion line for, just champions or if you've got the riders. In any case, if you choose Field Commander, it gives you a rally call ability where you can get 7 of her chosen companions, the chosen companions from before, either champions or riders, to accompany on the battlefield. But it also gives her the Strength of Heaven ultimate ability. And we'll come to that in a moment, but this is where the decision really takes effect, because if you choose Field Commander, then you can get the Strength of Heaven ultimate ability. If you choose the Gunpowder Monarch, then you get the Valorous Inspiration ability. Now, the Gunpowder Monarch, what that does, it gives you 3 of your chosen companions compared to the 7 for Field Commander, but you get a powerful cannon on the battlefield. So that's a really nice kind of change up with the choices that you've got. And let's move on to the next level. So the next one, the last one, is the ultimate abilities. Now, if you chose Field Commander, you get Strength of Heaven, where Jeanne uses the ability to choose a unit to bless to give extra health, 300 health, 4 melee and ranged armor, and an extra 300% damage, which is kind of crazy, but obviously you can only do it for 1 unit at a time. And actually, we're going to follow Joan of Arc now. See where she goes. Kind of important, really, to follow the game as well. But the last ultimate ability, which you get if you chose Gunpowder Monarch is that it increases the attack speed of all units within a 4-tile radius by 50% for 20 seconds. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is Joan of Arc in a nutshell. You know, it took me a while to get my head around it, but you might be wondering why she's shooting the boar. It's because she actually has a good attack against it. She gets a plus 14 damage against huntable animals, and so she should take that down. That's really nice because the other benefit is that she can regenerate her health, right? So it's not too much of a problem. And so, well, to kind of recap as to what's happened, Corvinus has gone to the next stage with the School of Cavalry, as you kind of expect with this civilization, this sub-faction. Getting a couple of knights that are going across the field, and you can see a couple of villagers on stone, looking to get that second town centre now, Joan of Arc. And looks like the Joan of Arc is just going around the map, getting a bit of scouting information, but also maybe looking to take out any wildlife wolves to get a little bit of extra HP, or XP I should say, really. Because the experience points that she gets to level up. Now, speaking about level up, that could cause a lot of problems for the Japanese. Now, speaking about the Japanese, they do have the Kura storehouse, which actually generates the farms around it for free, which is very, very nice. And you couple that with some upgrades you can get from the town centre. As you can see, the daimyo manor, spending that stone to increase the town centre HP, gets a villager as well, and also increases an arrow slit for it. But also, more importantly, increases the farming harvest rate by 25%. That's just tier 1. You can upgrade it another 2 times. Daimyo Palace gives it a 50% for the farms, extra HP, an extra villager. And the last and final one gives it 75 gather speed increase on the farms and takes out a villager there very nicely. Those knights going to get a second. They're ripping through them, and this is a bad start for Kaup, losing villagers. Spearmen are not in position, but they do get in position now. Going to take out 1 knight, but it's taken out 3 villagers already. So great value on those knights, and the other knight does back away there. Be 2 town centre play here for Kaup as well. Now, the nice thing about the Japanese, a couple of things to note. You can see this kind of mining camp. It's kind of a half cross between a mining camp and a blacksmith. You can see the upgrades there. Getting both the blacksmith upgrades and also the mining camp upgrades. Something to note, though, is the technology you can get there. An extra melee attack available for the Japanese. The one increases from the Dark Age. It's already got the one from Dark Age. Costs both gold and stone. One thing to note, actually, with the Japanese, by the way, guys, is when you mine gold, for every 10 gold you get, you drop off 2 stone as an additional. For every 10 stone you make or you mine, you get an additional 2 gold. So a bit of crossover there in terms of mining. A nice little bonus there for the Japanese. Also kind of helps them get that upgrades for the town centre. Moving across the map with a couple of spearmen here now, Kaup. Looking to get some damage done. Possibly trying to snipe a scout. Doesn't quite manage it in the end. Looks to try and focus on the knight first and gets a good couple of hits there. Nice little fight back there by Kaup. The second town centre is now up and running nicely there for Joan of Arc. And, well, as we crack on in the game, we're going to be getting an outpost there on the gold just to protect that area. Like, do you want to lose these villagers on gold, especially with the knights running around, right? It's always a bit of a concern. Speaking of concerns, well, not a lot is happening at this point, which is maybe more of a calm before the storm. Do you see a couple of spearmen heading forward? Japanese trying to put some pressure on, going to look to try and torch down that house if they can. And does set it on fire, so Joan of Arc will have to come back and deal with that. She does have some abilities here as a hunter. She can actually use Divine Arrow, which targets enemies and fires a damage. Damaging 40 with 1 arrow is pretty impressive. And you can see, always getting the XP as she kills units. The other upgrades, or the abilities I should say, is Divine Restoration. We talked about that earlier. Another interesting one is Consecrate. So she can actually consecrate buildings, production buildings, reducing the food cost by 25%. And I think she may have actually already done that. She's already done that on the School of Cavalry. You can see there the little symbol on top of it. There we are. Well, Archer's going to chase that down pretty nicely. Knight's continuing the chase. Spearmen do turn around. Doesn't get hold of that knight there. Does get the scout. The archers and Jeanne d'Arc going to try and take out as many of the spearmen as possible. You see, it's just a pain in the ass, right? She's getting so much value. But does have one more Q ability, Divine Arrow. We shall see if Corvinus decides to use it. But going to try and sacrifice the spearmen on the front line and bring the archers behind. Microing this really well. Killing a lot of these units. You see, Jeanne d'Arc has 5 bow ranged attack. And she does have some bonus as well. 8 versus light melee infantry, which is exactly what spearmen are. So she's really adept at dealing with spearmen. Couple of hardened samurai, though. Those are heavy melee infantry, so she's going to have to back off for now, lest she loses her life. She does exactly that, backs off for now. Fighting at the bottom of the gorge. I can see she just used her Divine Restoration ability. You saw the plus signs on top of the units, right? You can see just activated it. Got that little bit of extra health boost, and it's going to win the fight because of it. So you can see a really nice faction. Very different from the others here, Joan of Arc. Right, now, village count, very similar, but I think generally Joan of Arc's just taking the better fights. And I think the kind of crazy thing is that she's so powerful. When you compare it to the French civilization, there's not that much of a hit that Joan of Arc takes. Like, I guess it's an extra 2 seconds on villagers training time, but I mean, if you trade that in for this hero unit, it's looking good. Especially because you can actually consecrate buildings. Like, the other thing you might think about as being a difference is that the French can actually, build keeps around their production buildings, whether, stables and archery ranges to make the units cheaper. But consecrate does a little bit of extra to try and help bridge that gap, and I mean, it keeps her expensive, right? You're only going to get them in the castle age as well. Joan of Arc now moving on to the left side of the map a little bit. Maybe looking to get that boar, actually. Increase the HP, and we shall see. Maybe just looking to cycle around on that second town centre position. Farms have been built. Now, that's something interesting to talk about the Japanese. The town centres can be upgraded. They can get the daimyo mana, which spend a bit of stone, and you can actually increase the harvest rate of farms. Also adding in some extra HP as well. Also add some additional arrow slit. It does have 3 levels to it. So the next level actually gives you 50% farming gather speed increased. And third tier gives you 75% harvesting speed increase. Kind of crazy. I love this outpost position actually, because kind of those farms are a little bit exposed, especially with the knights coming in. But that'll do well to try and protect that position. Here they come. Here comes the initial aggression. Now, it's got to be careful. Joan of Arc is really adept at fighting. You saw the extra damage it gets. Bonus damage against light melee infantry. Which is exactly what the spearmen are. Engages for now. But I don't think kaup has enough. 17 military versus 7. A lot of them are on the front line there for Joan of Arc. Picks off a spearman on the retreat, though, from the town centre fire, which is nice. But keeping 15 villagers idle like this is actually really bad for kaup. Because he does have a slight villager lead, but the issue really is the fact that, I mean, he's lost a lot of military, right? I think he's gone for a 3rd town centre, which is pretty cheeky. He has indeed. The Japanese gone for 3 town centre. Very, very greedy, I have to say, because you're going up against the Joan of Arc, which is a very aggressive civilization by the looks of it. That's going to dive in a little bit. Does have a 6 villager lead, but the question is the military numbers for Joan of Arc start to climb pretty quickly, and with good micro, she can heal these units using Divine Restoration. Has the ability available to her. She uses it. Oh, you can see she's just teched up, right? So she's now become a mounted archer. And we can see the ability that she's gained is the 3 champions. She's chosen champions. That's the route she's taken. She's pumping out damage. Holy moly. Let's take a look at her stats now. 19 bow ranged. Very, very nice. Now, she can actually capture sacred sites if she gets to the castle age pretty soon. Gonna go up to the next stage with the guild hall. Oh, I was taking villagers out left, right, and centre. That 3rd town centre is not helping because he's losing so many villagers. A lot of villagers idle as well. And this is great skirmish by Joan of Arc. You might be thinking, oh, he's not making too much progress. There's no siege, but it doesn't matter because he's causing so much idle time. You can just see the champions coming out, using that ability. Champions. To arms. Called 3 champions to join the fight. And it's such a strong, like, kind of snowball effect almost. Because Manatom's going to do well against the spearmen. And these guys are... they're pretty tanky, I've got to say. 14 axe damage plus 8 additional damage against spearmen in particular. Nice on the berry patch. And now this is hard for kaup. He's going to need a farming transition. Because he's going to run out of food, but he doesn't have the wood. Has 1 villager on food. This is a terrible situation for kaup and the Japanese. Does start to get a couple of samurai, hardened samurai. But the castle age now coming in for Joan of Arc. That's going to make matters worse. And you see the veterancy coming in for the French. I say French, but, you know, Joan of Arc's Royal Knights, I guess. Going out to gold. This is such a great town centre spot, right? It's got the boar, the berries, the gold, wood as well. Anything you could want. And you can see she's immediately getting the sacred sites. Now, I've got to say, Corvinus has clearly had a lot of practice with this faction. Because he's playing it so, so well. I think this is a bit of a masterclass, actually. Kaup is struggling, despite being on 3 town centres. It's just the fact that he's had to pump a lot of units. out as quickly as possibly could, but couldn't afford to really, and he lost a lot. Villagers coming out to berries once again. He needs food. Got 41 villagers on food though. Still feeling like it's not enough to maintain the production of 3 town centres and units as well. Don't forget, it's still in the feudal age as well. He's going to be struggling if he's not going to get to the castle age anytime soon. Got to be careful here. It's going to be man at arms coming out for Joan of Arc. This is a real big problem for the Japanese because he'll need the castle age in order to get those crossbows. Joan of Arc moving forward. Getting that sacred site. That's another key bit of difference, right? It doesn't need a monastery. Uses that divine restoration ability to heal up those units. 2 man-at-arms, 2 spearmen and archers, and pushes those villagers away from berries once again. And it's not looking great, I've got to say. I think Kaup just needs to hold on, right? He needs to hold on as best he can. Maybe get some static defenses. Just try and take advantage of the defender's advantage. The trouble is that Jeanne d'Arc's military is camping on top of the production. So as soon as units come out, he might be sniped. Man-at-arms going to try and chase down the spearmen. Jeanne d'Arc might back off though. Going to try and just torch down the outpost, it seems. Man-at-arms focusing on villagers on the farms. They are going to die underneath the town centre, so thankfully for him, he's got that defensive pressure. He's going to be getting some of these on the Bugeisha light infantry unit with very fast movement speed and increased range damage. It's actually a melee unit, but you can see the attack has actually got a 1 tower range, despite being a melee unit. You can see the knight has got a 0.29 tile range, so extra range on that guy, and it's pretty fast as well. 1.5 tile movement speed compared to a scout, which is 1.62, I believe. But yeah, Kaup struggling, despite being on 3 town centres, not being able to match the villager production. Now, the one thing to think about is that Jeanne d'Arc has actually consecrated this town centre, making them 25% less cost on food, and I think that really compensates for the fact that the French generally can make villagers faster. Gets another sacred site. Things looking a little bit tricky. It's going to get a forward keep as well. Yep, looks like Kaup is under a lot of pressure. Now, I have to say, Japanese can be quite aggressive, but it doesn't really feel like that suits Kaup's playstyle in many ways. At least is in this particular match anyway. He's gone for 3 town centres. Without any sort of huge eco bonus that the Japanese have advantage of. Keep on the front lines. That's going to really hurt the production coming out of these barracks, I've got to say. A huge number of man-at-arms being added. It's so hard for Kaup to deal with this, right? Because he needs to get to that next stage, castle age. 17 minutes on the clock. Getting an outpost forward for that extra vision. Going to get the 3rd sacred site as well. Picking up relics whilst he's at it. Picked up 1 so far. About to get another. But so that 3rd town centre, super greedy. It just shows you the Japanese can't be doing that against Jeanne d'Arc. Especially with the amount of aggression, right? Like, it's kind of very difficult to play greedy against the French, and it's proving the same here for Joan of Arc. See a floating gate. That's the castle age landmark for Kaup. Now, this is actually a really interesting one. It's actually going to spawn a Shinto priest, but also get a Yorishiro every so often. And that Yorishiro is like a little care package. You can place it in buildings, and it boosts them up. It actually increases the production speed by 100%. It's a really nice bonus on that. And also you can put it on things like the forge to increase the amount of gold income. Passively, that is. Man-at-arms going to take that forge down there on that stone, and whilst he's going to get to the castle age, he doesn't... it's a bit tricky because he's kind of fighting fire with fire, right? He's got a lot of barracks, which you'll be able to get samurai, which is kind of nice. He's going to be fighting underneath the keep, which is less than ideal. Joan of Arc coming forward once again. Love to see if he gets up to the next level, getting the ultimate ability. But losing the productions on the front lines, going to have to rebuild those and maybe get a couple of mangonels. I mean, the thing is, the man-at-arms will do decently well against the mangonels. Tanking a lot. Lots of armor. Looking a bit dicey here for Kaup. He's going to engage though. He needs to bide his time, right? He needs to get a critical mass of units before he can take a really good trade. Or maybe even win. You can see the Shinto priest picking up the Yorishiro, but it's going to be attacked now, and he does engage against the knights. The trouble is, these are veteran royal knights, and they're going to absolutely rip through even equal numbers of spearmen. Does have a couple of samurai. There's the divine inspiration or divine restoration ability coming in there for Joan of Arc and healing those units during the fight, and man-at-arms tanking a lot. A couple of these on the Bugeisha trying to stay alive and dish out damage, but they're struggling. Meanwhile, the experience points continues to rise for Joan of Arc, and he's starting to get overwhelmed here, Kaup. 27 military versus 20. 12 rather, sorry, as we reach 20 minutes on the mark of the game. 3 sacred sites in play, 8 minutes on the ticking timer. Now he's starting to get a couple of samurai. Still decently high on villager count. Got a couple of villagers here on the west side of the map getting the deer and the berries. But he's struggling back at home under so much pressure. The big difference is really, whilst we talk about villager count, look at the number of villagers idled here. 43 villagers idled here for Kaup. As time wears on, that's going to pose a lot of problems. The man-at-arms attacking so much, even underneath 2 town centres. A couple of samurai, but it doesn't really feel like it's necessarily going to be enough. Sacred Site still approaching victory as the condition for this game, potentially. Kaup needs to get out there somehow. Try and deactivate one of those sacred sites, but he's struggling. Just see how much these units are tanking. It's kind of crazy. Man-at-arms are man-at-arms after all. Samurai might need to try and decide to fight at some point. It's down to 9 military. Oh, getting a keep on that south side to deny the 2 gold veins. 2 gold veins at that, and it's going to have to go on stone. Now, the one thing that the Japanese do get is that when they mine stone, they actually get a little trickle of gold as well. For every stone, 10 stone gathered, you get 2 gold, and vice versa. So if you get 10 gold, you get 2 stone as well. But taking the production buildings down on the front lines, that's going to make it very difficult for Kaup to produce military units on the defensive heavily. Man-at-arms going to now start taking the outpost down, and every minute that approaches means that sacred site timer keeps ticking away, taking the gold out right out of his nose, and this is a problem situation for Kaup, to say the least. He doesn't have any villagers on gold. That's a big problem. He does get Adachi, an upgrade for the samurai. He's got the defective armor as well. Now the Adachi, if I'm not mistaken, was a blacksmith upgrade. Yeah, it was indeed, I think. And now, well, this is looking problematic. Might lose that siege workshop, and Kaup might have just one last hurrah. Got to find a way to deal with this. Does have a mangonel. This could be a change in the tide, but I don't know. He's got to protect it. The man-at-arms dive right on top of it, taking the fight now. Despite the town centre being there, there's no villagers garrison inside. So there's a bit of a problem here for Kaup. I think if he loses this fight, if he loses the mangonel, it will be curtains. Even if he doesn't lose the mangonel, it still might be difficult. Joan of Arc firing on the back lines of this army and picking off units. The mangonel does deploy, takes a bit of HP off the man-at-arms, but they're still tanking heavily. And a couple of knights running on the farms, and there's so many villagers that are idle. They're coming in from the north to snipe out the mangonel. Should go down that mangonel. Villagers trying to come out to repair that for Kaup, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And it looks like the Joan of Arc's man-at-arms are going to run riot. Production builders again on the backline now at risk of being taken down, and this is a nightmare situation for Kaup, struggling to stay alive. He is down to 7 military versus 27. I think we'll just see the GG very soon, but he's holding on for dear life. He's trying to fight as best as he can. He is spawning new units, but we just saw Joan of Arc getting that ability to call an extra 3 champions to the field to make matters worse. He's got scholars, monks to heal up units, and yep, that's not looking great. Does upgrade the town centers, giving it extra HP, but it feels like it's not going to be enough, because I think once the army goes down, the production buildings go down, it will be the town centers next. You see a massive influx of knights coming in and man-at-arms, and all of a sudden Kaup's situation is looking dicey. You gotta enjoy the look of the Japanese town centers. They definitely look nice, but this one might be on fire very soon. Oh, you just see, I think that might have been an ultimate ability. Gets up to the next tier, has Valorous Inspiration. Not activated just yet, doesn't have it just yet, but did get to the next tier. You can see she's upgraded to a markswoman. Does take the town center. It's down now to 2 town centers, 42 villages idled, and well, that's just it. That's enough. He taps out. He's had enough here, Kaup. Unfortunately, he was just taken aback by a very strong Joan of Arc, a very strong corvinus. I hope you guys enjoyed the casted game. Take care, and see you next time.